Hello guys, and 3 Russian top officers were neutralized in Zaporizhzhia region with a precise HIMARS strike. Because what were they doing in Zaporizhzhia region? Most importantly, all of this happens in the context of more and more Russians learning about the Russian losses. You know that the Kremlin is desperately trying to hide the numbers, even though people realize every year Russia mobilizes 500,000 of soldiers. And where do they disappear? And they also understand that North Korean soldiers are not accidentally on the front lines in Kursk. Well, all because Russia runs out of people. And even the mayor of Moscow recently mentioned 600,000 Russian soldiers that needed rehabilitation. Later, newspapers reported about just 600. But it is really obvious that not only the economy is one of the greatest troubles of Putin in this blitzkrieg, but also lack of people, even among the North Korean soldiers. So let's discuss all of that in the video. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia and also protect yourself against their hybrid warfare, subscribe. We discuss all of that on the channel. And let's start with this important event that took place on the temporarily occupied part of Zaporizhzhia region, where Russian top officers decided they want to have a field meeting, and Ukrainian intelligence knew about that and interrupted them with a precise HIMARS strike. And they also failed to evacuate and save the vehicles because of drones finishing that job. In the result of this special military operation of the Ukrainian armed forces and our intelligence officers, -3 Russian top officers responsible for this invasion of Zaporizhzhia, and lots of their vehicles neutralized too. This is extremely important, and the moment any Russian crosses the border of the independent Ukraine, he becomes a criminal that can be prosecuted for that. Because let's be realistic, we all know why they come to Ukraine, and we all know they have to leave it directly to hell. Honestly, the army of Russia in hell is growing bigger and bigger each day, according to the official estimates, not of Ukraine, but of various intelligence services. Russia is actually close to 800,000. And it seems to me that the British intelligence recently spoke about Russians reaching 1 million of hell warriors, I mean literally in hell, in the coming months. Honestly, any sane, even dictator, I'm not saying about democratic leader, but even more or less sane dictator would have realized it's time to go home back to Russia, but no, it's not the case with Putin. And what I hope the future president of the US, Trump, understands, Putin does not want peace. He needs war to remain in power. He needs war to keep super control over his population, to block various organizations, movements, and parties, and most importantly, explain the troubles that are everywhere inside Russia with rotten West, foreign interference, and of course, Ukraine. When in reality, it is just this traditional misery and worldview and everything, because once again it's not just Putin to blame, and I will keep quoting Churchill, who said, if the country is run by a dictator, it is not only a dictator to blame. What is interesting, there are a lot of reports about the numbers of people conscripted to the Russian army, partially conscripted, and they are really great. Medvedev, this crazy ex-president of Russia who definitely uses different substances, spoke about this mobilization processes and reported that in 2023 they had 500,000 and in 2024 440,000 people. And here is a question: where do they disappear? Subscribe to see Putin, Medvedev, Shoigu disappear, and please share these videos on your social media platforms. So, with this summaries at the end of the year, they keep counting the numbers, and it's quite logical that more and more people inside Russia keep asking questions. where are these people? And most importantly, they also see that other mobilization experiments fail. Well, first of all, Russia and especially Wagner Group, when Prigozhin was still alive, not yet another commander in hell, they were trying to conscript prisoners, and they actually had a lot of people from prisons released to the front lines in Ukraine, and they were choosing not people with minor problems, but like killers, rapists, something that no other country would allow on the front lines. But anyway, they expired. And then Russia decided to import poor people from North Korea. And I genuinely feel sorry for them, because they are an illustration of what happens when the world allows a crazy dictator family to destroy lives of millions of people. And I genuinely believe it is partially our responsibility too. I don't know why so many people, so many countries start thinking about this isolation like a solution to problems. It doesn't work like that. It's just like you have a maniac on a street and you decide to isolate with your family. It will end up with all the street mad by that maniac, but not that like, oh, he just murders your neighbors and stops there. It doesn't work like that. And the fact that there are such societies where people don't have access to internet, where people don't have access to normal healthcare and food. And I know we all have troubles in our countries. Come on, I live in a country at war with electricity outages, but I live my free life, and you do that too. Please don't let Russian propaganda outwit you. And it's crazy how many people who are anti-imperialists love Russia, forgetting that most of Russian propagandists speak about the revival of the Russian Empire. So I feel sorry for these North Korean soldiers. Thousands of them came to Russia. Thousands of them fight against Ukraine, which is a very bad precedent that I assume the West failed and did not react properly, because we have a regular army of another nuclear country fighting in Ukraine, fighting against a European country, supporting Russia. And it's not bad just for us. It is also a training that North Korean soldiers receive in future to use it against South Korea or some other territories, let's say in their part of the world. They have access to training they want. And there are lots of new military businesses that Kim Jong-un opens, especially after this very serious energy crisis in Iran. They relocate or they start building drones and so on. Thus, we help Putin back up another crazy regime, and instead of isolating them, more and more countries want to isolate themselves. It does not work like that. They will keep destroying, they will keep breaking laws, borders, and people's lives. It is our task to defeat them in Ukraine. Ukraine is already a battlefield. It was not my dream. It was not a dream of any Ukrainian, but we don't have a choice, and we are good at defending values. You say it's nothing. Well, but do you want to live like in North Korea? Do you really want to live like in Mahadan or Murmansk, somewhere in Russia? I greatly doubt. So, you know that Russia is losing people at a crazy rate. Approximately 1,000 North Korean soldiers are gone in a week, more than 3,000 already. They are not ready for this kind of war, combat conditions, and it's actually a tragedy of a human life. Imagine living in that misery in North Korea, then traveling across half of the world, seeing internet, or they say they watch porn like crazy because they've never seen it, and then die 2 or 3 days later, fighting for what? Because just Kim Jong-un traded you to another crazy dictator. As long as Kim Jong-un, Putin, and some others, Lukashenko, are considered leaders, are considered potential partners for negotiations, This world is in trouble because we do not negotiate with criminals. You do not negotiate with a serial killer. Trying to understand what were the reasons behind his violent crimes and hoping that your neighbors are the last family you know what. This is exactly what Putin does now in Ukraine, what he did in Georgia and continues doing. His plans for Moldova, Estonia. How do you feel about these rumors and especially cables cut? And I hated that so many people commented like accidents, precedents. No, this is warfare. Let me know, by the way, what do you think about the countries that can be next if Russia is not stopped in Ukraine. But I know we can do it and we will do it. Please join me on Instagram, X, Threads, and our Blue Sky community is growing. We have a nice Discord channel too. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. And today there will be one more surprise a little bit later, an interview with one of your favorite YouTubers about New Year resolutions, plans for 2025, and what was the most important victory in this quite complex 2024. So remember to check the updates on the channel. You know I love you. Slava Ukraini!